Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the KPI Practitioner Pod, where I get the chance to speak with some of the best coaches, consultants, and thought leaders that use the Key Polarity Indicator, a self and 360 sense-making tool that helps people, leaders, and organizations make sense of the polarized world we live in today. Today, I'm joined by Pablo Bernal, someone who has ordered and used the KPI a ton, maybe more than anyone else in the world. Pablo, do you want to take a second to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Cole. It's very nice to be talking with you and as any person that works for Andiron, because I was reflecting some weeks ago that the contribution you're making to the world is very beautiful. So I'm very happy to be talking with you. I am Pablo Bernal. I'm Spanish, but I live in Rome because we're offering this tool along with other leadership development tools for church leaders, both in the Vatican and also in religious congregations. So Jesuits, Franciscans, both male and female religious leaders. And I'm very passionate about what we're doing because the world is turning more complex and everyone, we have a role to play, and also the Catholic Church have the role to play. So if we can accompany them in gaining complexity, and it will be the best for everyone. So.
That's beautiful. Now, Pablo, how did you hear about the Key Polarity Indicator?
In fact, the director of our program, Father David McCollum, he's close friend with Brian, or they have known each other, and he was exposed to the polarity management. And as a team, we realized that as the world needs, because world somehow sometimes have the tendency to polarization and to get stuck in ideologies, and also when we're maturing as adults, and there is a point in which being exposed to polarities, it really opens a lot our maturation process. So bringing both things together, we said it will be very interesting for us to get a lot of exposure to that, to be able to offer it to the leaders we accompany in a kind of simpler way. But also, if we're able to use some tool as the KPI, it will be very impactful for them.
That's beautiful. And how was your experience with the certification process? Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Did you, how does it compare to some of the other tools you've used before, or anything like that? You don't have to share, because I know it can be a more personal experience for other people. But if you want to say about that too.
I think it was a bit more intense than we were expecting, but especially mostly in the good sense, because going deep to be getting exposed to polarity management, I think it requires more time. So it required time. It was not very intense necessarily every week, the work of every week, but then it was a long process. But I could feel myself journeying during all that time. And especially with the other people we were doing certification. In fact, after almost 1 year, we still have the small group. We continue with the small group because we really appreciated the journey we did, the sharing, the accompaniment with one another. So I remember like a beautiful experience and as a deep personal journey.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. Now, I know you mentioned the work you're kind of doing with the KPI with the church. I'd love to hear about, if you have any learnings or impact stories about how, that work has, how the KPI has benefited that work or benefited others. If you want to spend just a minute or two talking about that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, we really like the tool, the KPI, because it allows people to be much more aware of themselves, and in a very both and way, also in a very flexible way. It's not that you you classify people in boxes, as most of our tools do. When language creates reality and limits reality, and the tools, they do the same. But this one, it's much more fluid. So people usually, they don't feel so threatened when they read it, because it's right now my polarities are showing this way, and I'm invited to to expand. No, I'm invited to especially we invite them to be more aware. So just this is the great learning, and then so we find it's a great invitation for people to realize, no, it's not that I'm like this, but for different things that I might become more aware a long time. I'm showing like this, I'm reacting like this, I'm acting. So we really love the tool because of that. And people usually comes and say, and usually are very grateful. Oh, thank you, because it kind of confirms some of my tendencies. At the same time, I feel really invited to expand, not to get stuck or to get judged. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love what you said about the language. It's so key for people to be able to digest the results that come from the KPI. Like, it's so important for them to see two very neutral words that are these polarities, these tensions, because that's what really starts the process of people, recognizing, the changes they want to make, the changes they want to see from, any of the given polarities that they may be struggling with or causing them suffering. That's beautiful. I love that. The language is so important. So I would love to know, one of the questions is, sometimes I like to just ask people, is there anything else or anything in general you want people to just know about the KPI? And the reason I ask that is because it impacts people in so many different ways. So some people, when they go through certification, they learn a ton about themselves along with the tool. Some people learn a ton about how they'll use the tool in their work. Is there anything else that you want people to know? And if not, that's okay.
No, yes, some ideas are coming to me. Yes, first, I want to repeat what I said about that it's a very flexible tool, and that's a great invitation to accompany leaders, because in general, polarity management is about breaking us thinking from white and black, white or black, and then start seeing all the colors that are in between. It's not just a gray scale, but it's all the colors that are in between. And the tool itself works like this, which is amazing. So the tool allows people not saying, okay, I'm black or white or any, I'm in that point of the spectrum, but I show, I act, in every polarity, and you can identify many patterns. So it's very fluid for the person to really to grow, to be aware, and I found that beautiful. And also, I think at the same time that you can deepen a lot. Sometimes we have experienced that only with very few questions, boom, the person really experiences a lot of new awareness and unlocks a lot of potential. So you can use it kind of very simply using the classroom and everyone having the report that we usually use it like this. But if you spend time with coaching and even with the 360, you can explore a lot of things. So the potential and depth it's very huge. At the same time, depending on the time and the capacity of the person, you can remain the surface and already do a lot of good work.
Yeah, the dynamics of the different, there's the polarity view, which is, very digestible if you're, in a very shorter session with maybe a larger group. And then the 360, obviously, I mean, just like any other 360, just give that feedback allows you to take it to an even deeper level and really work on that self-awareness, which is so important, as we know. And so that's great. You've used the tool in almost every format, haven't you? Between yourself and
exactly.
the other view.
Yes.
That's great. Is there anyone that you
like very happy
more than the other?
Sorry?
Is there anyone that you like using more than the other? Like the human or the leadership?
I think depending on the audience, for example, we have been delivering the program, and the tool, using the tool with leaders in India and all the Asia Pacific region, but also in Rome, we have people from all the world. And initially, the simpler, the better, especially if it's in a classroom mode. We don't even use the wheel because it's too complex for people, especially if you're in a classroom of 30 people doing it. Then when you have coaching, I think the wheel then is what the depth, and the potential that has the tool. It's much better because you start to see some patterns, and some dimensions of your life that can be very enhanced, and others that could be overused or underused. So Yeah.
That's fantastic. And with that, I don't have any other questions, but I thank you so much for your time, Pablo. The work that you all are doing in the world is phenomenal. And to just to hear you talk about where the KPI has been with the work you all are doing is, the support we appreciate it so dearly. And yeah, I thank you so much for the time today, and I'm looking forward to hearing other great stories about it traveling across the world. It's amazing.
Thank you, Cole. Really, I feel we are working and walking together for the same mission, and it's very beautiful. So thanks for what you do.
Awesome. All righty, Pablo. Well, I'm going to close this out.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Have a nice day. Thanks.
All right,
Get in
Pablo.
touch. Bye-bye.